Welcome to the RotoWire betting show. I'm Adam Zdroik. I'll be going over Leagues Cup action this weekend, July 29th, July 30th, and July 31st. I'm going to have a few bets for all of those games. But before I get into that, we got rotowire.com/soccer trial. That's a free 48-hour trial. You can get all of this stuff. We have I think it's exactly 2 weeks until we got the Premier League. We got all these European leagues start. Manchester City is playing exactly 2 weeks from now in an official league game. I know we have other preseason. We got the Community Shield coming up as well. But as you can see on the site, we have a article written by Ethan Sexton about Premier League transfers, some of the biggest moves, some of the players coming from outside of the Premier League to the Premier League. We also have cheat sheets for the Women's World Cup, which is still going strong. We're almost into the final round of group stages, and as usual, we have all the team news. Ryan Giles just signed for Luton Town about a little bit ago. And this is a betting show, so let's check out the betting page. We have the last Leagues Cup show I did on here, but we also got Women's World Cup action. As you can see, we got the odds for tomorrow's matches, I guess. I guess today's matches are all done, so there we go. This is always useful. As you can see, we get this for Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, all of the major European leagues. So let's get into Leagues Cup here a little bit. So when I talked last, was that only a week ago? I can't even remember how time is moving here, but I think I talked a week ago. It was before the tournament. Yeah, it must have been a week ago. It started somehow. Leagues Cup has only been going on for a week. It seems like it's been going on for 2 weeks, but yes, it was exactly 2 weeks ago in which Lionel Messi made his debut off the bench for Miami and scored a free kick goal to beat Cruz Azul in his Inter Miami debut. I'm just scrolling through some of the scores here. As you can see, there's a lot of high scoring matches. We got some rotation for a lot of these teams. We got some backup keepers getting opportunities. We have a couple, maybe some weirder results. As of note, as we can see in this first day here, 3 of the first 5 matches went into PKs, went into penalties. If matches are level after 90 minutes, they will go into PKs. So keep that in mind. I'm not sure. I actually haven't even been looked to betting penalties. I'm not sure like what the offerings are in terms of that. But as you can see, there's just been a lot of goals in these matches. And for the most part, I think I was pretty solid in my initial show. As you can see, Austin was one of my upset candidates, and they kind of disappointed a little bit. Real Salt Lake did beat Seattle, but then they fell apart a little bit against Monterey. They were another one of my upset candidates. But for the most part, I've hit on a lot of these. Philadelphia was one of my favorites. Cincinnati was another team that I focused on. I think my final that I picked in my bracket challenge bracket was Cincinnati against Philadelphia. I think that's still in range of happening. Cincinnati, we'll get into the Chivas game in a little bit, but so yesterday's matches, I guess as you can see here, the Cincinnati Chivas game, I believe they only played 45 minutes here. I think that's what it was. So Chivas got a red card, but Cincinnati got 2 goals from Brandon Vasquez in the first 10 minutes. That game is resuming Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I think it's behind closed doors kind of a thing because of it was postponed or it was paused for weather concerns. So we got Chivas. I'll be talking about them. I believe I have a bet on their match, but they play in Kansas City on Monday. So this is Friday. They're playing. We'll see what their lineup looks like. Like they can't change their lineup that much from what it was last night. So they're going to play 45 minutes Thursday. They're going to play 45 minutes Friday. Then they're going to go to Kansas City and play another match on Monday. So bit of a tough schedule there for Chivas, who was, I think, arguably, the most informed Liga MX team entering this Leagues Cup. But let's get into the bets here. As I said on the prior show, so when I was looking for odds here, DraftKings, I'm talking Friday. There are no matches Friday. There's matches Saturday, Sunday, Monday. DraftKings does not have odds for Sunday. FanDuel, you can get odds for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So it's kind of hit or miss a little bit. I would just be using Odds Checker, which compares odds from a few different places, and that's kind of what I'll be using to just scroll through the matches here. And yeah, I mean, from the first week of matches, it's been a lot of home teams. I guess let me go back to the score page here. There's been a couple away teams that have gotten wins. I mean, we saw the Mazatlan against Austin, but for the most part, you're getting the home teams with the noticeable edge, which isn't too surprising. I believe it was earlier this week where we had a couple Liga MX teams got got wins. Yeah, it was Monterrey, Leon, and Tigres, which none of those, well, maybe the Real Salt Lake one, but none of the other two were all that surprising. You have high end Liga MX teams going against kind of mediocre MLS teams, and I think those upsets, maybe I'm not even sure if they were upsets, but the odds were pretty close on them. Those are the type of games where you're gonna get the top league MX teams actually winning games on the road. Otherwise, bottom range, mid range League MX teams, really you're not going to see a ton of upsets in terms of that. Otherwise, I think most of the upsets, the way teams have been kind of weird games. You're getting, Montreal, just a team that has had success at home this season. Just, they gave up a goal, lost to DC United. And there's one yesterday. I guess NYC lost to Atlas, but again, that was just a low scoring game. Toluca came back against Nashville, which was kind of surprising. That was just like an up and down game with goals, goals, goals. I think Nashville went up 2, then it was 2-2, and then I think they're down 2-4. Then they got one late. This Minnesota Chicago one. I think Minnesota was up, then it was 1-1, then it was 2-1, then it was 2-2, and then Chicago got a late winner. As you can see, just a lot of goals in these League Cups games. Some optional defending, I would say. I think the highlight that's been moving around Twitter has been Toronto's back line and their 5-0 loss to, I think it was NYC. They just kind of gave up and didn't really care giving up that 5th goal. But as the games continue on, I think we're going to have more. I mean, maybe some of these teams have, I don't know if I want to say more to play for because, this is Leagues Cup, but these teams, I guess, are fighting to get into the knockout rounds. Maybe we're going to have more defensive games. I don't really think so. I think it's going to be I think we're going to continue with these high scoring games. I think that's kind of what we're going to see here. But let's get into the odds. Let me read a comment here. Yes, Daryl. Good morning. Good morning, Daryl. Love when he posts MLS video pics. Yes. I will try and continue. We'll see what my schedule looks like once European leagues start. Well, I'll see if I can get these MLS pick shows to continue. I mean, I'll still be following the league, so I figure I can just come on and do, a quick 10-minute, 15-minute show for MLS on Friday or something like that. Because we will have Premier League betting shows, we will have DFS shows as well. So there's going to be a ton of stuff going on. I'll try and get the MLS shows to continue once the European leagues go. So, all right, let's take a look here with these games. As I just said, home teams. I want to focus on home teams a little bit, and I think in a lot of people's minds is Atlanta just got smoked by Inter Miami. Atlanta is just not a very sound defensive team, but they are back home. They're against Cruz Azul. I'm pretty sure Cruz Azul have lost every game of their current season. So that's of Apertura. And then they also lost against Inter Miami a week ago. So I'm actually going to be on Atlanta in this one. Sounds kind of weird, but I'm going to take Atlanta money line. I'm also going to be on the over for goals here. Let me see if they actually have over-unders within here. I believe it'll probably be pretty high. So over 2.5 is -140. I think this is another 4 or 5 goal kind of game. So if you want to go over 4.5 and get plus odds on that, that'll be something. I may just go and do a single game parlay and do something. If you want a safe single game parlay, do like an Atlanta double chance with over 2.5. You're probably maybe around even odds right there. So that would be something to consider, or you could do over 3.5, Atlanta win, something like that. I think there's going to be goals. Atlanta can score at home, but they also are susceptible to allowing goals against everyone. Charlotte home against the Necaxa. This is an interesting game. Necaxa plays like a 5-4-1 formation. Still missing Oliveros from injury. I don't think he's going to be back. He's their left back. But otherwise, they play a little more defensive. Charlotte's games have been pretty high scoring on the road, but at home, maybe fewer goals. I think if I remember correctly, I have a graphic here of all my bets. I'm going to be betting corners for Charlotte and Orlando, but I'm actually going to pull up some Charlotte results here at home to make sure I'm not making some stuff up. So yeah, I guess they are in some higher scoring matches at home. 2-2 against Cincinnati, scoreless against Montreal, but 3-3 against Seattle. 2-1 results against Nashville and Chicago. So maybe I made that up about more defensive games at home. So you have a Charlotte team that struggles defensively. They're adding a bunch of mid-level English midfielders. They added Scott Arfield to go with Ashley Westwood. They're adding someone else. I can't remember what his name is, but I know someone else is in the rumor market for Charlotte. Just another mediocre kind of player from another league, but I will lean with Charlotte plus 105 here. Same with Orlando. I'll lean with the home team. Santos Laguna, I'm not sold on them entirely as a team. And Orlando have been playing pretty well. And now you're getting them at home. I think money line with Orlando plus 115 there. Austin, I'm going to run it back with Austin because they got they couldn't do anything. I mean, I don't know if they couldn't do anything, but they lost. They gave it 3 goals in Mazatlan at home. Austin, one of the most informed teams in MLS, at home, and they just didn't play very, very well. I'll count this as a bounce back spot for Austin. Hopefully we're going to get fans in some of these games because I've seen a lot of the midweek games. I saw the Mazatlan against the Juarez game. There's maybe 100 people there. Hopefully there's going to be some home fans for Austin at these games and for some of these other MLS teams because a lot of these midweek games I saw there just weren't very many people. I'm not sure how ticket sales are going here. I know we've seen inflated numbers in terms of attendance, but as everyone knows, attendance numbers are pretty fake. I used to work in ticket sales, so I know all about that. But I'll go Austin. FC is minus 115. We'll take that. I'm pretty much gonna pass Pumas, DC United. DC United is kind of just a team that's all over the place a little bit. You don't know how they're gonna perform from game to game, and Pumas is a solid team. So I'm just gonna kind of fade that one. Sunday, July 30th, we got Atlas against Toronto. I think we saw another team that lost 5-0 in their last game, Toronto. People are gonna look at that and be like, okay. So we got Toronto high scoring matches because their defense sucks. Atlas, more of a defensive side, solid in terms of that. So that'll be something to look at. I actually don't think I have a bet on this one, but if you want to look at something like Toronto double chance, this is a different type of environment for Atlas. Actually, I guess Atlas already did play at NYC. So Atlas is in like this group here of playing in interesting locations, the Toronto BMO Stadium, and then NYC where they play at a baseball field. So there you go. No bets on that one. Red Bulls are heavy favorites here, minus 145. For something like this, this is because Atletico here is just not a very good team. So Red Bulls, anytime Red Bulls are minus 145, I'd be kind of wary because Red Bulls aren't that consistent of a team, and I don't think they're that good, to be honest, but maybe minus 145 if you want to do like an over corners bet kind of a thing. Whatever the number is there, do a single game parlay, take like Red Bulls minus 145, take over 4.5 Red Bulls corner, something like that. You can probably get closer to even odds. No thoughts on Tijuana against Querétaro here. I'm not even sure this game is played somewhere, some MLS stadium. These teams are playing against each other. So no thoughts there. Monterrey, who already beat Real Salt Lake 3-0, and then Seattle Sounders Seattle Sounders lost to Real Salt Lake 3-0. You got plus 150 on both sides here. I don't have too many thoughts. The Sounders are at home, and sure, they play better there. They just haven't been playing that well. So I almost kind of want to side with Monterrey here, and I'm not sure how much it means that, okay, Seattle need to win this game at least 3-0 to have a chance to advance to the next round. I'm not even sure that matters much. I'm just leaning Monterrey here. I think they're going to I think they're going to win both their two group games against solid MLS competition. So good on them. Galaxy and Whitecaps. I first looked at the over on this one. You're going to have to be betting on the over 3.5 goals. If you looked at the prior game between these teams, they played a couple weeks ago. That was 2-4, I believe. Both teams have been in high-scoring games. Whitecaps have been in high-scoring games. Galaxy been a bit all over the place as usual. Tigres, San Jose, last game on Sunday. I will be similar to the Monterrey game. I actually think I have a double chance parlay here with Tigres and Monterrey. So, just Tigres, good team. San Jose, maybe perform a little better at home, but I think this is going to be a tough spot for them. America Crew, Club America against the Crew. Over on goals. Let's say over on goals. We could see the debut of Julian Gressel. I believe he's eligible to play. I'm not even sure what the League's Cup rules are in terms of lineups or in terms of rosters, because Gressel did transfer to the Crew. I think it was about a week ago after League's Cup got started, maybe. But Gressel may make his debut in that trade from the Whitecaps for the Crew. America thrashed St. Louis. I watched the first half of that match. It was only 1-0. I really should have put in a live bet on America to get a few more goals in that one, because they were just it was like Manchester City against just like a bottom kind of team. Tim Parker was just getting roasted multiple times. Maybe should have got a red card in like the first 20-30 minutes or something like that. So I think that's going to be a problem for the Crew's defense. I think there's going to be goals in this one. I think this is another game where you're going to get America getting 3-4 goals. But on the other side of that, I think the Crew's offense is a little more potent than what St. Louis has. So I think there's going to be goals in this one. You could even take a bet here with America plus 180 to win. Wouldn't hate that one. Chicago came back against Minnesota yesterday, Thursday. Now they're home against Puebla. I think I'm going to be taking them on the money line here. Chicago, they didn't start the season that well, but they've shown life in the past month or so. And I think that's kind of what – I don't think the odds are actually implying that. As you can see, I just pulled up their recent matches, and what I just said here, they've won 4 straight matches. They had 3 straight clean sheets going into League's Cup in MLS play. So they're playing pretty well. I'm pretty sure they have just about everyone healthy. They started Przbilko last night, but Shaqiri is back from his international duties as well. He came off the bench, got a PK. I think actually after Shaqiri came on, that's when Chicago got their 3 goals. So they're pretty healthy. I'll take them at home against Puebla at plus 150 odds. Toluca, Colorado is an interesting one. I know everyone wants to fade Colorado because they're not very good, but at home, Colorado matches are lower scoring. I don't hate doing like some kind of double chance with Colorado here. I know MLS fans do not want to bet on Colorado. And Toluca's a decent side, so maybe there's not a straight up bet here, but I may look at under 2.5. Chivas, Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City, slight underdog at home. I did mention the thing with Chivas, how they're playing Thursday and Friday. They got these half games kind of. I'm not sure I'd go Sporting on the money line just because of they're a team that always seems to allow a goal in the 90th minute. I think this will be a fun one, though. I think I'll probably be going the over. Let me pull up the bets here. I got a couple more questions from Daryl. Early thoughts on Messi impact at Inter Miami. Getting in Miami Inter seems nearly impossible. Assume you're talking about So Rare here, but yeah, I mean, Miami they just keep adding players. I think there's a lot of MLS teams, there's a lot of MLS owners that are getting kind of upset at what Miami is doing by bringing in all these players. Let me pull up their roster a little bit, but I mean, Busquets, I think I don't know if I underrated just the effect of, I think all the talk going into this was like, okay, Messi is here. Messi is just going to be there. And everyone's like, okay, well, their defense is still terrible, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you throw Messi in, it sounds like they're going to sign a forward. I can't remember his name, from some South American country. They're going to add another player worth millions. But Busquets in the midfield has been massive. I don't even think Jordi Alba has actually played yet. So you got that. Um, I doubted things initially, but when you throw in just world-class players, even if though they're past their prime, it does have a major effect on everything. But again, of course, we have to say Cruz Azul, not a very good Liga MX team. Atlanta away from home, just not a very good team. So I think those things do have to be taken into account. But you throw in Jordi Alba, who, he was still playing in Champions League matches last season. Busquets, was he 35 years old, still again playing in Champions League matches last season. So you still have these guys who have still played in La Liga, in Champions League, and then you throw in Messi. While they are older, I think I kind of underrated just the effect of just throwing one elite player at every level is going to have. And I think it'll be interesting to see how they perform. I think they're going to be overrated in the odds a little bit in some of these games. We'll see if they actually play on some of these weird turfs. I'm not sure what the schedule looks like, but there has been talk about teams changing their turf or changing where they play matches to benefit. So Messi and Busquets, all these guys will actually play, kind of a thing. I'm not sure with the last that happened with that. I think like the Charlotte owner came out and was like, I'm not changing anything about our stadium to benefit Messi or whatever like that. But I do think that maybe they've probably looked better than they're actually gonna be. But when you throw these three guys in and then whoever else, and it's not like Kriefstoff or Yedlin are terrible players as it is. So you have okay mediocre players for Miami, and then you add elite players, and then you're gonna get back. I'm not sure who's actually coming back. I know Ian Frey's not coming back, but Jean Mota, Grigore, Quarantine Jean. I'm not sure if those guys are actually going to be back this season, but you still have pretty good players that are going to be available off the bench. So I think it's been a good start for him. We'll see how it turns out the rest of the League's Cup. But Inter Miami away from home, I think that'll show a little bit. And then when you get these midweek matches, these quick turnarounds in MLS when you're flying across the country, I think that will be something to keep in mind. We'll see if these guys actually start every match because, traveling from Miami to Seattle or wherever on the West Coast, these 4 or 5 hour trips, you just don't really have that in European countries outside of Champions League. Even some Champions League travel is shorter than Miami to West Coast. So I wonder if you do have to take that into account. But let me get in the bets here. Get back to the bets. Back to the bets for the betting show here. As I said, let me have the schedule up on my own screen. But as I said, we got Atlanta money line plus 120 because people are going to be hating on Atlanta after their last loss. But they're home against Cruz Azul. I think they can win that one. Same with Austin. Austin minus 115 to win. Atlanta plus 120 to win. These are both on Saturday, July 29th. And then I got a nice little corners parlay here. This was a Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern corners parlay. So we got Orlando City minus 0.25 corners in the first half against Santos Laguna. Charlotte minus 0.25 corners in the first half against Necaxa. Plus 250 odds on that for that parlay. First half corner parlay. There we go. Let's just do it. Let's see. The next one I got is, I think it's a Sunday match. Sunday, July 30th. I got a single game parlay. So I'm taking the Galaxy double chance and over 2.5 goals. And you're getting about even odds there, minus 110. These parlays, the first couple parlays here I grabbed from DraftKings, but Galaxy at home, I'll take them in terms of that. But as I said earlier, I think there's going to be goals. So minus 110 on that. And then the other Liga MX double chance parlay, Monterrey against Seattle Sounders and Tigres against San Jose. Double chance parlay, that's plus 105. Those odds were grabbed from DraftKings. And the next two bets, I grabbed these odds from FanDuel because the odds aren't available at DraftKings yet. Chicago at home against Puebla, plus 150. Chicago money line, plus 150. Grabbing that. I think guys like Shaqiri will be back in the starting 11. Even Kai Kamara might be back in the starting 11 after they kind of slightly rotated some players in the match against Minnesota. And then the final bet I have here, it's another parlay. It's an over parlay. I mentioned I like the under in Toluca, Colorado, but this one is on overs. So we got over 2.5 between America and Columbus, and then over 2.5 between Chivas and Sporting Kansas City. That's plus 190 on the over 2.5 goals parlay. All right, 25 minutes on Leagues Cup action. Thank you for watching this, everyone. Thanks, Daryl, for keeping me busy in the comments. We'll be back with I'll have some So Rare content in the next couple of weeks. We got betting show. We got kitchen wagers coming up. We got DFS content. So we got a bunch of DFS content. We got a bunch of YouTube content coming. Throw this all in the our podcast feed as well. RotoWire.com/soccer trial, free 48-hour trial. You're going to want all the stats. You're going to want the cheat sheets. You're going to want all this stuff. Also of note, we're going to have projections, 2023 Premier League projections, 2023 FPL rankings, Fantrax rankings. Those will be out next week as well. Thank you for watching this. You can find me at Zdroik on Twitter. Find RotoWire Soccer at RotoWire Soccer. Let's win some money in Leagues Cup.